You're listening to Hawk Talk with former Seahawks wide receiver Michael Bumpus. Powered by Seahawks.com. Now, here's your host, Nasser Kyobe.
Welcome to another edition of Hawk Talk. The Seahawks welcoming in the Indianapolis Colts to Lumen Field. And Bump, a lot of news this week.
Yeah,
around this football game.
Going down.
And not the news you thought when the week started. You know, we obviously know about Daniel Jones. He went down. We're going to talk a lot about that. And, you know, they have the backup, Riley Leonard. Went to Notre Dame, took him to the national championship. He gets a little dinged up, and they bring in a guy that's played a lot of football, Bump. Phillip Rivers.
Phillip, 44, 80s baby, stand up. We still doing this in the league right now.
Still doing it.
Still doing it. I was surprised, man. And I see the notes that you have down here back in 2004 when Rivers broke into the league. Your boy had some braids, bruh.
Come on now.
Now I'm 40 myself. I will be 40 on Saturday. When this airs, I'll probably be 40. And yeah, he's still in the game, which is amazing to me because at my age, I cannot imagine suiting up for a football game. Even if I was in great shape, the hits from these 23, 24, 25, 26-year-olds, no thank you, sir. But he plays quarterback, so it's a bit different for him.
Bump, I'm 34. I couldn't do that right now. What are we talking about? And he's played a game with a torn ACL. Phillip Rivers, arguably a Hall of Famer. We don't know that. I don't know if he'd be a first ballot, but he's probably going to get in.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's back, and obviously everything we're hearing looks like he's going to start and play, so this should be a really fun matchup. Let's jump right into it. What's on tap?
What's on tap?
These Colts, 8-5, second place in the AFC South. Started off gangbusters. Beat wins over the Dolphins, Broncos, Titans, Raiders, Cardinals, Chargers, Titans. Then they kind of came back to earth a little bit. Losses to the Steelers, Chiefs, Texans, Jaguars are on a 3-game losing streak. After starting 7-1, They're struggling. We just kind of talked about it. A lot of quarterback play changing going on. They have a lot of good pieces, but they are not playing well. So it'll be interesting, Bump. And what did you see for them against the Jaguars this last weekend?
Yeah, so out of the 5 losses the Colts have this season, this was the only one that was not competitive. The Jags were leading 14-7 towards the end of the first quarter when Daniel Jones went down with that Achilles injury. Big ups to Daniel Jones. You never want to see that from anybody. No. The Jags dominated from that moment forward. They had Riley Leonard, who you mentioned, was in the game. He was 18 of 29, 145, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He did have a garbage time touchdown run late in the fourth quarter. Then you got Jonathan Taylor. He was definitely slowed down by the league's #1 ranked run defense. He was held to 74 yards on 21 carries, and that's 3.5 per clip, 1 touchdown. And he did fumble once. Then you have Alec Pierce, I'll get your name right. Led the Colts in receiving with 80 yards on 5 receptions, and Trevor Lawrence was 17 of 32, 44, 2 touchdowns, and 74 yards on 20 carries, but he did have 2 touchdowns.
When you look at this Colts team, Bump, I look at their schedule: Seahawks, Niners, Jags, Texans. It's possible they win another game.
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, they were 7-1 for a reason. Me and you have talked about the Colts all season long. It was hard to buy into what they were doing. But now looking back, I mean, they beat the Broncos. That was a good win. That's looking pretty good on the schedule in terms of teams they beat. Anything can happen. That's why you play the games. We'll take a look into this head-to-head. And this head-to-head is going to be tilted a little bit, especially when you look at the offensive numbers, Bump, because all this is based off of, a healthy Daniel Jones. So when you look at the head-to-head, I'll start with the Seahawks. The Seahawks are 9th in offense, averaging 353 yards per game, 18th in rushing offense at 117 yards per game. Pass offense, they are 9th in the NFL, and points per game, they are number 2 in the NFL, averaging 29.8. When we look at the Colts, they are 6th in total offense, averaging 368 yards, 6th in rush offense, 130 yards a game, 8th in passing, 237, and tied for 5th in points per game. They're just underneath the Seahawks at 28.9. So you look at those offensive numbers, those are great.
Yeah.
Obviously, but they're based off of a healthy quarterback situation, so it'll be interesting to see how Uncle Phil can come in there and figure this thing out.
Yeah, so I saw those numbers before I watched the film, and I go, all right, man, but that's the overall average, right? Mm-hmm. So in their 3 losses, okay, they're averaging 18.3 points per game rather than 28, 190 yards when it comes to passing rather than 237, and 83 yards on the ground rather than 130. So there's clearly something's going wrong with this team, right? You lose your quarterback, your running back's not playing this great football as well. The line is struggling a little bit, but it is what it is. All right, so in 3 losses when it comes to defense, though, right? Scoring, they're giving up 18.3, all right? When it comes to passing, 190 and 119. Those are all during their losses. So there's a clear, regression going on there. All right, overall, they are 23rd against the rush. They are 6th against the pass. They're 29th in scoring. They are 13th. They put some good stuff on film. They got some good players over there. Obviously, you're dealing with your quarterback situation. You don't sleep on anybody, but they do look different now in these losses.
Yeah, the National Football League is what have you done for me lately? and lately they have not been good. So we'll see what Philip Rivers can do to kind of change the tide or whatnot. But it'll be very interesting. That's why they play the games, and that's what's going to happen on Sunday. These teams being in different conferences don't play all the time, but let's know the history.
Know your history.
Colts lead the old-time series 7-6 with all matchups taking place in the regular season. Last game was the first game of the 2021 season bump, first regular season in front of fans. That was right after the pandemic. And it was the debut of a new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. Very different time for this organization, which is crazy to think. It doesn't feel like it was that long ago. But if you remember, Bump, we really thought big things were going to happen that year. The tight ends were getting involved. This new coordinator from the Rams had just come up and started with the Seahawks. It was a great day. Carson Wentz was also making his debut for the Colts that day as well. But Russell Wilson had a great day. 153.8 pass rating in the first half. It was one of the best pass ratings he's ever had in his career. Finished with 18 for 23, 254 yards, and a 69-yard touchdown to Tyler Lockett. Chris Carson, man, I miss Chris Carson. He was a hard-nosed runner. 91 yards on 16 carries. Lockett 4 for 100, 2 tutties. DK Metcalf 4 receptions, 6 yards and touchdown. Quandre Diggs, who signed back with the Seahawks a little bit, he's a little bit dinged up on the practice squad. He's the only member on the current team that played in that game, and he's on the practice squad. So it's very, very, very different. Times change in wild 4 years. That's what the league is, man. And just that amount of time and completely new coaching staff, new roster, new all that stuff. So, yeah.
You know what stands out to me? It's jacked up. D. Eskridge running that fly sweep and getting hit on the sideline. And that knocked him out for weeks, I believe.
Honestly, nothing was ever right again for his career and everything that we thought was going to happen in Seattle. It was like a nice little 9-10 yard gain. We're like, oh, that's what we're going to see all season.
Yep.
And then
it gets hit.
Yeah, 2021 is it. That's enough of 2021. That was not a fun year for us in this building. But let's flip our attention to what's going on in the division. What's the word?
Where my soldiers at? West side. Where my soldiers at? West side.
And the Seahawks are the NFC West champs again.
What's the word in the West on Hawk Talk?
All right, you got the Rams and the Seahawks all knotted up 10-3. The Rams hold the tiebreaker, obviously. The Niners are 9-4, and the Cardinals are 3-10. Like I said, the Rams are all tied up at the top, man. And with the Rams holding the head-to-head tiebreaker, you just got to take care of business and then win that head up once you get there. I think you have the 49ers who are right in the mix, just one game back, and this stretch run should be fun. What these schedules looking like?
Man, you got the Rams. They got the Lions. Huge game for them this week. Seahawks, Falcons, Cardinals. Looking at that schedule, they're probably going to win the last 2 games, but the next 2 on their schedule are incredibly tough. For the Seahawks, the Colts, the Seahawks should be favored in that game, obviously. Got the Rams, huge showdown. We know what that's about. Panthers, a lot better than we initially thought when the schedule came out. And the Niners, they're 1 game back. They don't die. So, like, the Seahawks also have a tough schedule. Then you look at the 49ers. They got the Titans, Colts, Bears, and Seahawks. For them, the Titans aren't bad. They're bad. That's not a good team. The Colts, we'll see what – if Phil Rivers is able to go out again after playing the Seahawks, maybe he'll be in a rhythm. Who knows? Then you got the Bears who've been playing good football and the Seahawks. So, like, a lot's going to happen over the next couple weeks, but I'm excited to see how this finishes. Hopefully with the Seahawks at a 14-3 1 seed. I'm hoping, speaking to fruition. Those guys are focused on the Colts. I can talk about what I want to happen. That's okay.
Let's do it. All right, let's talk about these Rams and the Cardinals, right? The 3-10 Cardinals are down bad right now. They lost 5 straight in 10 of their last 11 games. No more Kyler Murray. And they got lots of injuries. But, man, they came out competing. They marched right down the field, and Michael Wilson caught a 19-yard touchdown as the Cardinals took a 7-0 lead. I was watching that drive as we were watching doing our post game, and Michael Wilson was getting hyped. He had me believing. I'm like, okay, let's go, Cardinals, let's get it. But the Rams would score in the next 2 possessions and would lead 10-7 at the end of 1. But from that point on, it was all Rams. Winning the final score was 45-17. Stafford was 22 or 31, 238, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He got back to his old ways. Puka Nacua had a monster day with 167 on 7 receptions and 2 touchdowns, one of which he mossed ADB in the corner of the end zone. That was that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to play DB. I probably should have played DB, but moments like that, no, sir. Blake Corum had 128 rushing yards on his 12 carries and 2 touchdowns. And that's what's scary about the Rams is that they got that other running back going too, Blake Corum, right? You got Kyron over there as well, but Blake got things going. Jacoby Brissett on his day, the starting quarterback for the Cardinals, 25 of 44, 271, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The bright spot for the Cardinals we talked about was Michael Wilson, 11 receptions for 142 and 2 of them things.
Yeah, bad deal for the Cardinals, man.
Yeah.
They are, like you said, they are down bad. They got the Texans coming up this next week, but the Rams, the Lions, that's a huge game. The Lions need it. They're scratching and clawing, trying to get back in the division as well as the wild card. So that's going to be a huge game, obviously, this week. So we'll be paying close attention to that ball game. But let's flip our attention back to the Colts and let's figure out this QB situation. Man up.
Hey, who you got?
Who you got? You know what time it is. Man up.
Man up, brother.
Man up.
Man up on Hawk Talk.
I'm going to try to condense this a little bit, Bump, because it's a little complicated. There's a lot's happened over there in Indianapolis.
I'm glad you're doing it.
I mean, honestly, they're still reeling from when Andrew Luck retired. I mean, that's been a long time ago, but we're still hearing about that. But honestly, coming into this season, no one knew who the starting quarterback was going to be, okay? What you knew was going to be a battle between Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. Richardson being the 4th overall pick out of Florida, starting just 1 year in Florida. His career has been up and down, rocky. He's had times where he's played great. He's had times where he played poor. He's had times where he's taken himself out of games, and he's had some moments of success. Over his career, he's a 50% passer, 2,400 yards, 11 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Then you have Daniel Jones, who came in. Obviously, we know what happened with him. He had a really good year in 2022 with the Giants, up and down over there. You know, the next year after that good year, we went to the divisional playoffs. You know, the Seahawks whooped him down there in New York. He struggled. He ended up getting hurt. Next season, doesn't play well. They bench him for Tommy DeVito and, you know, that whole thing. So he leaves. Yeah. He gets his release. He goes to Minnesota on the practice squad, is in their building for a little bit, and now he's just looking to restart his career, right? So he goes to Indianapolis. Now they have a tough battle all throughout camp. And then after that, Daniel Jones wins the job off of merit. He played well, and he was making the most of the opportunity. This season, he was 261, 384, 68% passer, 3,101 yards, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He was playing some of the best football he has ever played. And before that, he had a broken fibula, or he had on one of his legs, so he's battling through that. Then he tears his Achilles. And I would say, shout out to him because he's a G.
Soldier.
I mean, I look, obviously, you hold Kobe Bryant in high regard. Obviously, he walks off the court with an Achilles. Daniel Jones says, no, I'm going to walk off the field. So I appreciate him for that. That's a big ups to that. I never want to see anyone get hurt. Then you throw in Riley Leonard. He was at Notre Dame, played really well there. On Sunday, he wasn't terrible. I don't think he 18 to 31, 145, 0 touchdowns. This wasn't Max Brosmer out there.
Right.
You know, some of the bad performances we've seen this year. But he had 1 interception. He had a touchdown called back. Anyway, so they're unsure about him. He has a little knee injury. What are we going to do with him? Then you have Brett Rippon. Shout out Brett Rippon, now the QB on the roster. Washington standout, Gatorade State Player of the Year over at Shadle Park. Went to Boise State, broke a ton of records. Kind of a journeyman, though, in the NFL. So those who they had on their roster coming into this week. Then your boy Phil Rivers, I hear, is at his couch. You know what I'm saying? He's watching TV, sees someone get hurt, and he goes, I wonder if they're, man, what are they going to do? Boom, his phone rings.
He's an area code he doesn't recognize.
Hey, do you want to come play for us again? So they're giving him another shot. He has not played in 5 years since they lost their wild card game against Buffalo in that COVID season, which is crazy. Also crazy, he's wearing his 17. I know he's always wanted to wear 17, but Daniel Jones.
It's official, he's wearing 17?
That's the report I saw from Schefter, that he's wearing 17.
Wow.
Because, well, Jones is on IR.
I get it.
There's no conflict.
I get it.
I know.
I also get it. I get it in Danny Dimes' defense, like, what the heck? But I also get it in Phillip Rivers' defense, like, I'm a future Hall of Famer, dog. Like,
I've worn 17 since I was in high school.
Yeah, this is what I do.
And you've been here for what, 10? Anyway, say what you want about that. Phillip Rivers is going to play. And for me, Bump, he's probably a future Hall of Famer, like we mentioned earlier. Yeah. Who knows what he has left in the tank? I will tell you this, he wouldn't be coming up there to hold a clipboard.
Nah.
He wants to play. They want him to play. Him and Shane Steichen were together for a long time, almost 10 years, wherever it was, down with the Chargers. So we'll see. I mean, your guess is best as mine. We'll see. The Seahawks will be prepared. But whoever's starting to quarterback, good luck, because this defense, 6th overall, 11th against the pass, 4th with 41 sacks, 2nd in the NFL in scoring defense. So I'm really interested in what's going to happen to quarterback, because it's one thing to be off the couch, but when you get hit by Leonard Williams, Jaron Reed, Ernest Jones, Drake Thomas, Julian Love, Kobe Bryant, Devin Witherspoon, okay.
Look, it would have been hard for him to get off the couch and play against the Bengals defense.
Correct.
Now you're playing against one of the best in the game. Good luck to you, and Godspeed. Okay. Now we're going to focus on our guy Sam Darnold against these Colts. Sam Darnold, he's a great week. He bounced back. Well, not bounced back, but he just played good, right? 20 of 30 for 249, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, a QB rating of 111.7. He was good against man blitzes. right? He completed 6 out of 8 for 75 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, according to Next Gen Stats. Sam also made history, joining Tom Brady as the only quarterback to win 10-plus games in consecutive seasons with 2 different teams. He knows how to win. So despite not playing his best game statistically, Darnold is among the league's best. He's number 6 when it comes to passing yards. He is number 1 when it comes to number 1 in the NFL in yards per pass attempt. He's number 1 in the NFL when it comes to yards per completion, number 5 in passer rating, number 8 in QBR, and number 6 in completion percentage, completing 68.1%. They've done a good job protecting him. He's only been sacked 17 times. That's big ups to the O-line, big ups to Sam for getting the football out of his hands. That's tied for first in the league. The Colts, like we mentioned, their defense is 23rd overall. They're 29th against the pass, and they are 9th when it comes to sacks with 35. So they can get after the quarterback.
Right.
They can get after the quarterback.
No, it'll be I'm excited to see this because I really want to see the Seahawks offense. I'm not looking past the Colts because they still have to show up and win.
Yep.
They still have to play well. We've seen bad football teams still get out there and compete. I just wanted to see this offense build some momentum leading into that Rams game because we know what that front can do there. And then this is the guy bump. Here it is. This is the dude that the Seahawks need to stop. Jonathan Taylor. He's the best running back in the NFL statistically. The Seahawks have had a nice little stretch here. Bijan Robinson, now Jonathan Taylor. Those are the best to do it outside this building. He's in his 6th NFL season, rushed for 1,000 yards in 4 of them. Really the only 2 years he hasn't been hampered by injury. Led the NFL in rushing, 1,800 yards, all-pro season 21. Last season, he still had 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns in just 14 games. He's first in rushing yards, first in rushing touchdowns with 16, first in the longest carry this year, 83 yards. Yards per game, 104, that's first. Overall touchdowns first, scrimmage yards second. This dude is a dog. We know what he can do. He's 4th most points scored this season. He's the only person in the top 10 that is not a kicker. For the Seahawks, this is what it is, man. You stop him, you win this football game.
Yep.
If he finds a way to break the Seahawks streak of 22 straight games without allowing a 100-yard rusher, that's when you might get nervous in this ball game.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is he's a dog. The last 3 games he struggled a little bit, but the potential is always there for him to have a big game. Let's talk about the pass catchers for the Colts. You got Pierce, Warren, and Pittman Jr. The production amongst pass catchers for the Colts has been spread out pretty evenly, starting with the leading receiver, Alec Pierce. Pierce in his 4th NFL season after being a 2nd-round pick in Cincinnati. He's coming off the best season of his career. He had 842 yards and 37 receptions. He led the NFL with 22.3 yards per reception. He also has 7 touchdowns. He is an all-around type of receiver, right? He's not extremely fast, but fast enough. He's decent in the block game. He can catch it underneath stuff. He's just a solid receiver. I like what he brings to the table.
Yeah, 2 years in a row, if you're leading the NFL in yards per reception, you're doing something right. And to your point, it just means you have to be a good receiver if you're not running a 4.140. You're not just running guy people. So he's great. Tyler Warren's another guy you're looking at. Do everything from Penn State. He was the best tight end in the draft, good as advertised, 14th overall out of Penn State. He did a ton of stuff there. He had over 153 receptions, 1,800 yards, 19 touchdowns. He was a dog. You knew he was going to be a good player in this league, and he's kept that up. So far this season, he's got 60 receptions, 699 yards, 4 touchdowns, 5th most receptions among tight ends in the NFL, and third most yards amongst tight ends in the NFL. So he's doing his thing.
Let's talk about Michael Pittman. 6 years in the game. He has 2 1,000-yard seasons, and he has played for a lot of quarterbacks. All right, we're going to add Phillip Rivers to this thing.
Come on now.
You got Carson Wentz. You got Matt Ryan. You got Gardner Minshew. You got Anthony Richardson. You got Daniel Jones, just to name a few. Last season, he had 88 yards and 69 receptions and 3 touchdowns. He had 69 receptions and 3 touchdowns. When you're a receiver and you can still produce and you've caught footballs from 8, 9, 10 quarterbacks, you're solid. They trust you. It reminds me of a McLaurin kind of situation, right? He's got like 14 QBs over there. But that says something about you. That means that whichever quarterback they bring in, they trust you automatically because of your work ethic and you know what the heck you're doing.
He's an absolute pro. And they got players. They were leading all those categories offensively for a reason. So we'll see there. And I'll be remiss. I totally forgot to mention this earlier. One of the reasons Anthony Richardson isn't playing is because he had the most horrific eye injury with a band that got snapped back in his face and broke an orbital bone, which is just like, you want to talk about bad luck. My goodness. Yikes. Hopefully he gets well soon. We'll flip it back over to our receivers. The best in the game, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Rashid Shaheed, Cooper Kupp, taking on this secondary. When you look at Jackson Smith and Jigba, man, again, we talk about him for days and days and days. Last week, 7 receptions, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns against Atlanta. He passed DK Metcalf for the most yards in 3 seasons. He passed Bobby Ingram, Jimmy Graham for the most receiving touchdowns in top 10. I mean, he's doing all this different thing. He leads the NFL, 89 receptions, 1,428 yards, 9 touchdowns, 6th player in NFL history with at least 85 receptions, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's doing his thing. He is unbelievable through these first 13 games. And their secondary is dinged up, Bump.
Yep.
I think JSN could have a big day.
I think he can. I mean, even if they were healthy.
True. Yeah, you're right.
Day.
That shouldn't even matter. You're right. 1,000% right.
But they are beat up a little bit. And Cooper Kupp himself, he's having a solid season, man. He's the second leading receiver on this team. 36 catches, 483 and 2 touchdowns. Last week, had 2 for 35 and 1 touchdown. And then Rashid Shaheed, I think we're moving in the right direction with my man here. Last week, had 4 receptions for 67. He also had a 100-yard kickoff return. That's the 3rd of his career. The Colts are 39th against the pass, or excuse me, 29th against the pass. They lost Sauce Gardner this year. Ward as well is in the concussion protocol. You got to take advantage of the situation you got over here.
Yeah, no, I think the Seahawks can do damage in the pass game for sure. And then last thing we'll talk about the Colts. They've got decent people up front. Latu is the guy they look at out of UCLA, Bump. I'm sure you've seen and called some of his games.
Yep.
35 tackles, 5.5 sacks, 7 TFLs, 4 passes defended, 3 INTs. So beyond him just getting after the passer, he's versatile. The fact that you've checked that many different parts of the box score of what he's been able to do that year, so he's a good player. DeForest Buckner, been around, OG, 42 tackles, 4 sacks, 9 TFLs. And Kwity Paye, he was a first-round pick as well. All these guys were 34 tackles, 4 sacks, 4 TFLs. So they have players that can get after the quarterback. We'll see how the Seahawks defend them there.
Man, going back to Latu, started at UW and was told you can never play football again.
That is
never play football again.
insane.
Goes to like 2 or 3 different doctors, goes to UCLA, and then is the first defensive player drafted in 2 drafts ago or whatnot, like the 11th pick or something. His journey has been crazy to get here. And, you watch all these guys, but I just thought I should point out Latu's story. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, he's an absolute player. One of my buddies is a big UCLA fan, and Latu is a dog from everything you can talk about there. But we'll see how these Seahawks are going to get a victory at the victory.
At the 45, waits for the snap. Michael Dixon puts it down. That kick is away, and that kick is good! The Seahawks win! It's good!
It's a path to victory on Hawk Talk.
I'm going to keep repeating this, Bump, because I love this quote.
Yep.
Coach McDonald said this season, the players have earned the right to expect to win from the work they put in. And when you watch this football team, we've earned the right to expect them to win because of how they've played. And the Colts this season, they've exceeded expectations. We know that. This is another game the Seahawks should win. Top to bottom, this team has a better roster. I think this game is going to get started up front. You get after whoever's lined up a quarterback. Looks like it's going to be the 44-year-old wonder Philip Rivers. Get after him, make his life hell, because that's where it's going to start. Get this crowd up early and often and make his life hell for sure.
Now, the Colts have the best RB in the game. Last week, you went up against maybe the second or third best RB in the game, Bijan Robinson. So you gotta rally to the football and just attack him, man. Keep that 100-yard rusher streak intact. It would be, 23 weeks in a row if you get this done here. And contain Tyler Warren. He's one of the best tight ends in the game, one of the best overall tight ends in the game. And when I watch him on film, he plays with this hunger that you see throughout the NFL, but it's just different with him, especially with tight ends who can move the way that he moves. So you got to contain that guy, man. The last 2 games, the Hawks have started pretty slow. Now, let's get out to a good start. Get that rhythm going. I know the defense can hold it down. I got you. Right. But at some point, the offense has to come out once again and lead that charge.
Yeah, no, at some point against really good football teams, that will bite you in the butt. So hopefully the Seahawks can get on top and then get JSN involved early and often. They're missing their top 2 corners. This could be a big day for JSN. I would love to get him back in the Calvin Johnson conversation. That's just me selfishly there.
Love it.
And then keep protecting Sam Darnold. You're the best in the league, tied for first, only allowing 17 sacks. So really excited to see about that. And take care of business, Bump. Take care of business and set up the matchup.
Come on.
Okay, you got to take care of business on Sunday. Otherwise, the other stuff is irrelevant. So we'll see what happens on Sunday. He's Michael Bumpus. I'm Nasser Kyobe. We're going to break down everything that happened in this game on Monday, getting you ready for a quick turnaround for the Rams in what could be the NFC title game early. We'll see what happens there. But we will get back with you guys next week. This has been Hawk Talk.